Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll bring you a special preview of the exciting activity set for Nashville and the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Plus, we'll visit the Grand Ole Opry and check out the Opryland Hotel.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. This time we bring you an in-depth preview of the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show coming up next week in Nashville, Tennessee. The convention kicks off Tuesday, February 4th, and by all indications there could be a record-breaking crowd in Nashville. It's the 116th annual gathering and the oldest and largest convention focused on the cattle industry. And it's not too late for you to go and enjoy all that the convention has to offer. Let's learn more about some of the reasons cattlemen and women are planning to be in Nashville in this report from Russell Nemitz.
Each year, thousands of cattlemen and women gather for one important and unforgettable event. The Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show offers a unique blend of business, education, and fun. Attendees have an opportunity to get information about critical issues affecting the industry and have their voices heard during the policy decision-making process.
We're talking about very serious issues, but at the same time, if you're going to take the time to go there, you want to be able to have some fun and enjoyment. And they have planned some really fun activities in addition to our business sessions and our planning sessions that we'll be going through.
You know, if you're going to be in the industry, you ought to be in the industry. You ought to be a participant in it. You ought to come here and share and give and take and enjoy. I certainly recommend it.
If your business is cattle, there's no doubt the 2014 NCBA Trade Show is the place to be. In Nashville, more than 300 companies will be exhibiting, and the trade show will cover nearly 6 acres, filled with opportunities to win prizes, have fun, meet people, and find out about the latest in cattle-related products and services.
Trade show is really neat for NCBA just because it provides the opportunity. I might see these people about once a year at every trade show, and it gives you the chance to catch up, to learn about some new, exciting, innovative items that might be on the market or through a pharmaceutical company or new equipment or just a little bit of everything.
This trade show is one of the best trade shows that is out there. It's amazing the amount of industry and businesses that come here to be a part in, and there's no other place that for those of us as beef producers can go to have this much information in one place. It's an event that we will never miss.
Educational opportunities provide more reasons to attend this year's convention. Cattlemen's College is an outstanding producer education program now in its 21st year. Cattlemen's College offers a wide range of informative, hands-on workshops designed for cattle operations of every size and sector.
It's a great chance to have access to a lot of different resources, if you will, at one place at one time. And gosh, the variety of speakers that NCBA lines up is just terrific. And so it's one I think as a producer I would plan to attend. I certainly wouldn't miss it. It's a great way to kick off the conference.
Education is one of those things that I think it needs to be ongoing for the rest of your life. And whether you're 58 like me or you're 18 like somebody else, I think the Cattlemen's College brings a lot of new perspectives, a lot of new products, and a lot of some of the most intelligent men in the industry.
And the trip to Music City and the Opryland Hotel isn't just about work. Attendees will also have a great time hanging out with fellow members of the cattle industry from around the country, and there will be world-class entertainment with Cowboys Night at the Opry too.
Nashville is very exciting. We have great locations for our conventions, but Nashville is always fun, always an exciting time, a big crowd, a great trade show, a good entertainment. We love going to Nashville and doing our work.
If they haven't been here, they don't know what they're missing. It's just a great connection spot, and you'll find that you have so many things in common with your fellow cattle producers while still being independent.
It looks like the 2014 Nashville Convention will be a record breaker, and those who go know the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show not only helps you become more profitable, it's also a whole lot of fun. I'm Russell Nemitz, reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
And joining us now to provide more insight into the 2014 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show is Kristen Torres with NCBA. Now, Kristen, this convention has been a year in the making. What do you anticipate some of the highlights will be?
Sure. It's actually been a little bit more than a year in the making. We have a lot of great things lined up for this convention. Great lineup of speakers, a sold-out trade show with a record number of exhibitors, and a whole lot of fun planned, and some great education. You mentioned your speakers, and you always do such a good job bringing some really motivational, inspirational speakers. Who's on the forefront this year? Well, our opening general session is going to feature Richard Phillips from the Oscar-nominated film Captain Phillips. So he's going to kick off the convention. We have a great session with the folks from Cattle Facts. And then we also have Archie Manning that's going to address the crowd as well. Wow, should be interesting right after Super Bowl Sunday. Yes. You're always adding to convention. What might be some new components that people will see this year? Well, a couple of new things that are new with the convention. Cattlemen's College is featuring a hands-on cattle demonstration. What actually happens the day before the classroom session, so that's new for this year. And then we also have a new education area on the trade show floor, which we call the Learning Lounge, and we're going to have education programs right there on the show floor in a classroom setting for anybody that's coming by for the trade show. Education is one thing that really you do a great job of throughout the entire convention. Tell folks a little bit more about some of the educational opportunities. Sure. Like I said, Cattlemen's College has the live handling sessions. They also have a full lineup of classroom sessions where they're going to have Bob Langert from McDonald's addressing the group. On the trade show floor, we also do some live animal handling sessions, and we have sessions every hour the entire time the trade show is open. And how about entertainment? We're in a wonderful place in Nashville for all kinds of entertainment. Give folks an idea of what they should expect. Sure. Well, one night we have a Nash Vegas party planned, so we'll have a great time there. And then we're going to have an exclusive event at the Grand Ole Opry. We have Diamond Rio on the lineup, Riders in the Sky, and some great other artists there. And we'll have live music several places around the trade show floor. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Well, 2 years ago, that was absolutely a phenomenal evening there at the Grand Ole Opry, and I suspect it'll be even better this year. It sure will. Now, it's still not too late to attend, even though we're just, a week away from convention. That's correct. Registration is still open online if folks want to register before they head down to Nashville, or they can head straight to the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and go to the registration area there, and we'll sign you up right there on site. Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you and all that you have planned for all of us in Nashville. Thank you. Don't forget, you do still have time to make it to this year's convention in Nashville and be a part of this amazing educational and fun event. The convention is set for February 4th through the 7th, and you can find out more at beefusa.org. Still ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
It's a must-see event. If you're in the cattle business, there's no other place in the world that you can learn more than at the NCBA convention.
We'll visit with Tennessee cattlemen to see how they feel about hosting the Cattle Industry Convention in their state. Plus, we'll give you an insider's look at the amazing Opryland Hotel where the convention will be held. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
Hi everybody, this is Marty Stewart inviting you to follow me to Nashville, Tennessee for the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It'll be February the 4th through the 7th in Music City, USA. For more information, please visit the National Cattlemen's Beef Association website at beefusa.org. There you can check out all the cool stuff that'll be happening at this year's convention. Now, while you're at it, don't forget to check out the Marty Stewart Show, Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on RFD TV and FamilyNet.
Follow Superior Livestock to Tennessee for the annual National Cattlemen's Beef Association Convention and Trade Show. Stop by Superior's booth 1184 to visit with Superior representatives. Sit down and watch a Superior livestock auction on site. And of course, talk the cattle business with folks from coast to coast. Mark it down February 4th through the 7th in Nashville. Superior will see you there.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher.
When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Welcome back. It's hard to find a group happier that the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show is returning to Nashville than the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Russell Nemitz gives us a closer look at the Tennessee cattle industry and its leadership.
You'll find Green Cattle Company just a short drive southwest of Nashville. Jerry Green is a fifth-generation rancher, and his family has been in the cow-calf business for more than 50 years.
We run about 160 cows, and about 30 of them being registered Angus cattle. And we run registered Angus bulls, performance-tested bulls on a herd. Been doing that for the last 25 years, and it's really worked out good for us. We've got a pretty good cow herd now by doing that.
Raising cattle is the #1 agricultural industry in Tennessee, and an average operation runs around 25 head of cattle. No matter the size, urban encroachment is an issue all of the area's ranchers deal with as the city of Nashville continues to grow.
Ground's pretty good to man here, and they seem to gobble up these farms, and they don't want cattle on them. They just want to have a kind of a prestigious, pristine kind of a deal, and they just rather come out and spend the weekend sitting on the back porch looking out over their property.
Jerry is not only a member of the NCBA, but he's also serving as president of the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association. It's something that keeps him busy both on and off the ranch.
Being the president of the Cattlemen's Association keeps you pretty busy, doing both, but I enjoy it. Really look forward to the next year and a half.
Their willingness to give up their time to do something they believe in, which is, work on behalf of the cattlemen in Tennessee, it's really unreal what all they're willing to give.
The Tennessee Cattlemen's Association was founded in 1985 and has about 6,000 members. The organization works to provide the cattlemen of Tennessee with a group through which they can work together to protect their interests and find solutions to cattle industry challenges.
We represent the cattle producers here in Tennessee and just try to make sure we have a voice where we can talk to folks about the cattle industry and try to, create some goodwill and make sure people understand exactly what it is we do.
Members of the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association are especially excited that the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show is making a return visit to Nashville.
I'm glad that NCBA decided to come back. It's a great place. Opryland is unique. It's a must-see event. If you're in the cattle business, there's no other place in the world that you can learn more than at the NCBA convention. It's one of the greatest things that ever has been. You'll see a lot of good people, and everybody there holds their hand out and shakes your hand. It's a good deal.
I wish the folks that have never been to convention, I hope they'll come and see it, because it's hard to explain what you benefit from being there until you experience it. There's so much to learn, so much to see. The fellowship with other cattle producers, it's just, I love going and talking to the folks from Kansas or Montana and learning about how they operate, and folks down in Florida and how they manage their cattle. So much fellowship there, and then the learning opportunities. You really get a feel for the industry. If you're in the industry and you really want to appreciate and learn what the future holds and be a part of it, you need to come to Nashville.
And many of Tennessee's cattle producers, like Jerry, are excited to show off their state once again. Reporting from Nashville, I'm Russell Nemitz for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
One of the outstanding features of the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show is the world-class entertainment planned each year. This time around, Cowboys Night at the Opry 2 is a highlight as convention attendees get their own special show at the Grand Ole Opry. Now, what makes Nashville Music City? Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter gives us some insight.
Nashville is known as Music City for a reason. This town is where aspiring artists go to try and develop their talent and get discovered. In places like the Bluebird Cafe, a Nashville gem where some of today's biggest stars first found fame.
Of course, our most famous person is Garth Brooks. who got his deal right here in the Bluebird Cafe, performing on a showcase that he was not scheduled to perform on until much later in the evening. He had been rejected by every record label in town, and he did a live performance here, and a Capitol Records executive saw him and said, well, I think we made a mistake, and took him into our kitchen, the story goes, and signed him up on the spot. So that's history.
Get discovered at the tiny Bluebird Cafe, and you just might progress to the most famous stage, the Grand Ole Opry, which traces its roots way back to 1925.
Well, the Grand Ole Opry has literally seen every single star in country music, from Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner to Charlie Pride and Little Jimmy Dickens, some of the great legends of country music. The Opry also showcases the new stars, some of today's biggest artists. The 6-foot circle of wood at center stage on the Opry House stage has a lot of meaning to it. For performers, they're walking across the same stage planks that their heroes did. You know, Bill Monroe, Minnie Pearl, Roy Acuff, Elvis Presley, Patsy Cline. It's a very, very special place, and it's a reminder to the performers that country music stays connected to its roots.
And on this trip to Nashville, cattlemen will get their own special show at the Opry with Cowboys Night at the Opry, too.
Well, country artists love performing for cattlemen because it's really the heart and soul of what country music is all about. Real people singing real songs about real life. And so the artists find comfort being in front of folks who really share the same values that they do. And that's what we're all about at the Grand Ole Opry, really presenting good, wholesome American music for folks to enjoy.
And for those who do stand and sing in the Opry's famous Circle of Wood, the ultimate honor may be election to the Country Music Hall of Fame located in downtown Nashville.
There's only one Country Music Hall of Fame. These folks are very revered and they're very respected for what they've brought to this music. There are very few. This is not an honor that is bestowed quickly or easily. It comes with many prerequisites. So we hold it very close to our heart, and we hope that people come here to find their artist, someone they particularly loved, or even someone behind the scenes.
The Hall of Fame features more than 140,000 square feet of exhibits representing a little of everything from Reba McEntire to Elvis, and even a salute to singing cowboys. Put it all together and it's clear if you're looking for music in Music City, you'll have no trouble finding it.
I think that Nashville is a community like no other city that I've ever been in, and a music community that's very, very strong. And I think that the Country Music Hall of Fame, with the history and the stories that it has, obviously the Ryman and the Grand Ole Opry are a huge foundation for our music. And the Bluebird we're right in there too. So I guess the answer to that is we're a community of music that unites together.
In Nashville, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
No doubt, Music City is a great place to hold the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Don't go away. We'll take you inside the amazing Opryland Resort right after this.
Working Ranch magazine understands the challenges and rewards of the American cattle rancher. If it's ranch related, you're going to find it on these pages. Subscribe now by going to workingranchmag.com or give us a shout at 855-894-7415. And come visit us in booth 1277 at the 2014 NCBA Convention and Trade Show in Nashville. Working Ranch, your magazine.
New Holland is smart for the way you farm. And New Holland round balers are smart for the way you raise cattle. By focusing on making the densest bale possible, New Holland round balers pack more into each bale, saving you time, fuel, and money. Now that's smart. We can also match your feeding requirements with a variety of bale slicing, cutting, and wrapping options to help maximize your time. Plus, with models designed specifically for silage or specialty crop harvest, New Holland gives you the power to make smart choices to fit your farm or ranch. You work hard to get the most out of every hay season to benefit you and your cattle. From mower conditioners to balers and tractors, New Holland has the right solutions to help you make quality hay and forage for your cattle operation. Visit your New Holland dealer to learn more about the complete lineup of New Holland equipment, in addition to all the benefits available to cattle producers.
Now, many of you made the trip to Nashville 2 years ago for the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. But for some, this is an all-new adventure, and that includes the place you'll stay. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Sharon Alseth brings us a closer look at one of the largest and most amazing hotels you'll ever visit.
Once you check into the Gaylord Opryland Resort, don't expect to see the outside world for a couple of days. And why would you need to? This massive facility has more than enough amenities to satisfy the needs of any guest.
People are amazed just at the magnitude of this place. I mean, as one of the largest combined convention and resort hotels in the country, there's a lot to explore. So Gaylord Opryland Resort has 2,882 rooms, all on one campus. Inside our 9 acres of indoor gardens, you'll find more than 50,000 tropical plants. And we can't forget about our quarter-mile-long river inside our Delta atrium. One of the amazing things about Gaylord Opryland is that we keep our atriums at 72 degrees year-round. So even in the middle of winter, it's a perfect tropical paradise.
The Opryland Hotel first opened in 1977 with 600 rooms and has expanded over the years into the massive multiplex it is today. Of course, country music is one of the first things people think of when they think of Nashville, and the Opryland Resort works hard to offer guests all the excitement and energy of the Music City under one roof.
Music City is what Nashville is known as, and we have tried really hard to bring that into the resort experience here at the hotel. One of the things that we hear from our guests all the time is how much they love our proximity to the Grand Ole Opry house next door. We also have live music at our Opry Backstage Grill. A lot of our restaurants here at the hotel offer live music. And you've got to head downtown, experience the Wild Horse Saloon, line dancing. It's an experience unto itself.
This is the largest non-gaming hotel facility in the continental United States, so finding your way around can sometimes be a challenge. Jenny has some useful advice to help you get around the hotel.
If you're visiting the hotel for the first time, one of the tips that I recommend is have some comfortable shoes. There is a lot of walking involved, and as we like to say around here, calories don't count at Opryland. You are going to get a bit of exercise going from point A to point B. And then another fun trick is that our map, you'll notice the colors of the carpet correspond with the color coding on the map. So for example, if you're in our Delta section, the carpets are red. If you're in the convention, the carpet centers are blue. It's a good little hint.
As you can imagine, the food is an important point to consider with a beef convention in town. Opryland chefs are hard at work making sure there are plenty of beef choices on the menus for the thousands of members of the cattle industry staying at the resort.
My team typically starts right around 2 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, and then goes all the way lunch and dinner, and then my second shift starts at 2 o'clock and they work until about 10 o'clock at night.
You'll be happy to know that beef is on the menu year-round, not just when the cattle industry comes to town.
We serve several hundred thousands of pounds per year of beef in general, just on our banquet side of the facilities. We do anything from braising, smoking, grilling, and pan searing. So for groups of 20 all the way up to 6,500. Beef is so flexible because you can fully cook it and cook it to the point where it's just awesome and tender, and then you can just pan sear certain cuts or put them on the char grill, and then it's perfectly cooked as well. It's so versatile.
Over the years, I cannot begin to tell you how many hundreds of thousands of pounds of beef that we have served to our customers. We have more than a dozen restaurants under one roof here, including our signature steakhouse, Old Hickory Steakhouse, and our banquet servers as well will be serving some amazing beef dishes while you're here.
With so much to see and do, as well as lots of space for meetings and the trade show, the Gaylord Opryland Resort is an ideal place for cattlemen and women to meet.
I think it's a lot of fun for us to have the cattlemen here at Gaylord Opryland. There's just a spirit and an energy that's here, having them under our roof and seeing the cowboy hats, the belt buckles. It's just so much fun for us.
Reporting from the Opryland Resort in Nashville, Tennessee, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
There's plenty to see and do in Nashville outside the Opryland. Just a short drive away is the historic home of an early American president who was a war hero and a Tennessee farmer who owned cattle himself. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter brings us the story.
Andrew Jackson was the 7th president in the United States. He gained his initial national fame by winning the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the War of 1812. After that, he sort of became a national hero.
Today's Americans may know President Jackson for his place of honor on the $20 bill. But Andrew Jackson came from humble beginnings before being celebrated as a president and war hero.
Andrew Jackson was a character, would be a good word to describe him. He had come up from poverty. His family was Irish immigrants. They moved to the United States, or what would become the United States, just before his birth. And his father died just before he was born. His mother died when he was a teenager. Both of his brothers died during the Revolutionary War. And so he had to make his way in the world by himself. And he didn't have the kind of education and background that a lot of the earlier presidents had had.
President Jackson spent most of his career as an attorney and nearly all his adult life in Middle Tennessee. It's where he built his home, the Hermitage. Today, it's a historic museum, but in Jackson's day, it was a working farm.
In his day, they grew cotton as the cash crop. They grew approximately 200 to 300 acres of cotton. Then they also grew corn, wheat, oats, other crops that they needed to sustain the family life and the animal life on the farm. He also had 150 slaves, so they grew several large fields of sweet potatoes and Irish potatoes.
Today, Jackson's farm includes a small herd of belted Galloways, but during his time, the more than 1,100 acres were home to beef and dairy cattle.
Andrew Jackson did have some livestock. He had cattle, probably just a few, mostly for beef purposes. Actually, after he died, his family kind of got into the dairy business and sold butter. The 1850 agricultural census shows them selling 1,000 pounds of butter that year.
Jackson lived at the Hermitage with his wife Rachel and their adopted sons. The Hermitage still honors the couple and their legacy today.
In addition to the farm crop, demonstration crops we grow, we have a 1-acre pleasure garden that is the garden that Jackson had designed for his wife Rachel. And we grow mostly the kinds of plants that would have been available in the middle 1800s. They were buried in the garden, so his tomb is here also as part of the garden. So you get the full experience. His home, his first home, his tomb, it's all right here.
The preservation of the Hermitage is a way to honor this 7th president of the United States, known as a champion of the common man. In Nashville, Tennessee, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Lots of folks will be taking tours of Andrew Jackson's home and enjoying all that Nashville has to offer. Why not join us next week at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show starting February 4th. Find out more at beefusa.org. While you're there, NCBA members can visit the NCBA Political Action Committee auction page to view and bid on a wide variety of exciting vacation travel and merchandise lots. Funds go to support NCBA's work in Washington, D.C. You must be a member to contribute to the NCBA PAC, so don't wait. Join today. We'll be right back right after this.
Your herd, your business, your family,
You've always protected what matters most, so you know how important vaccinations are for healthy cattle. And with Vista vaccines from Merck Animal Health, you know you're covered. No other vaccine works like Vista. Only Vista gives you complete dual-action pneumonia protection and complete one-dose fetal protection for the entire pregnancy. Protect what matters most. Talk to your veterinarian or animal health supplier about Vista.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
To ensure your seeds become strong stands, give your soil the right preparation before you plant. Improve your growing environment with agronomically designed equipment from Case IH, like the new Ecolo Tiger 875 disc ripper, engineered to manage tough residues and shatter root-limiting compaction for improved nutrient uptake and better stands with more fully developed plants at harvest. The world of farming is changing. Will you be ready? Learn more at caseih.com.
Each fall, calves face the greatest health challenge of their lives as they move off farms and ranches and are commingled in feedlots. Joining us to talk about some of these challenges is Dr. Kevin Hill, a technical services veterinarian with Merck Animal Health. Dr. Hill, thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, fall runs in full swing right now. Tell us about some of the challenges that creates for calves.
Well, if you think about it from the calf's perspective, this is a big disruption in his life. We start generally in gathering these cattle from wide open spaces and collecting them, separating the calves from the cows, vaccinating, processing, load them on trucks, send them maybe a day's trip away, unload them with a lot of new friends, and turn them out to feed they probably haven't seen before and don't know where the water is, all sorts of things. So this is a big time challenge for them in lots of ways.
Well, specifically, what kind of health problems does this new scenery and new conditions create for those calves?
Undoubtedly, the biggest problem the whole beef industry faces in terms of health is respiratory disease. And so that's exactly what happens to these calves. They are presented with new bacteria and virus exposures that they haven't seen before, and so doubled with that stress factor, then respiratory disease is a big issue.
We talk a lot about the costliness of BRD. What are some things that producers should consider in managing it effectively?
I like to think of it as two primary factors that they need to manage. One would be stress, and the other is trying to supercharge the calf's immune system, if you will. And so in terms of managing stress, we talked about all those things that happen sometimes in a very short period of time. So if we can spread those out so that gathering and weaning and processing don't all happen on the same day, they don't get shipped until after weaning, ideally, that can help manage stress a lot. And then in terms of trying to improve the status of their immune system, then we're talking about vaccinations and things like that to help prepare them better.
Well, I want to follow up about this concept of immunity because it's so important. What are some things producers can do to really turbocharge or enhance that immune response?
Generally, the things that we recommend would be to try to get 2 rounds of vaccination into the calves before they're going to ship into the feedlot. And so if they can do that, and additionally, again, if they can wean those calves for 30 to 45 days, those are the things that help that immune system the most.
You know, I know as a cow-calf producer, we always believe it's so important to get colostrum in the calves right up front, right? And so assuming we've done that, then what else can we think about throughout that calf's lifestyle to begin building immunity even earlier?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned colostrum because it's the effects of not getting enough colostrum at birth extend clear in not just in the suckling phase but into the feedlot phase. We know that calves that didn't get enough colostrum at birth have a much higher risk of disease and death in the feedlot. So that's number one. And then as the protection from those maternal antibodies starts to drop off over 3 to 4 months of age, then that calf needs to start developing its own active immunity. And that's where the vaccination programs come in to help stimulate that immune system.
So specifically, what other advice might you have for folks as they approach fall weaning time? You said, first of all, try to break some of those management practices up so all the stress doesn't occur at one time. What other advice might you give cow-calf producers? Well, there's kind of 3 basic things that producers can do. They need, number one, to develop a good vaccination schedule. They need to eliminate parasites from the calves. And in terms of vaccinations, 2 categories there really. One is respiratory disease. The other we haven't talked about is Clostridial disease protection, just kind of a standard thing that should be included. And, you know, for some folks, this may seem really, really complex. Lots of products, lots of protocols, lots of timing elements and so forth. Where can producers go to get some additional help in thinking through this? Well, this is where having a team effect with your veterinarian is really important. I mean, he's the one that has the most relevant information as far as what diseases are prevalent in your area, as well as the area where these calves are going to ship to. When those vaccines ought to be given, which vaccines he prefers, all those kind of things are things that the veterinarian is really helpful for. So I think that interaction is really essential for a good health program. Don't go away. We'll have more with Dr. Hill right after this.
Hi there, I'm John Conley. Follow me to Tennessee and the Music City for the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's a great chance to network with your fellow cattlemen and have a whole lot of fun. And it's your chance to see me play live during Cowboys Night at the Opry at one of my favorite venues, the Grand Ole Opry. Join me and 7,000 of your fellow cattlemen at the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Get all the details at beefusa.org.
If you've been waiting for the right time to get the John Deere gear you've always wanted, then now's the time to get down to the Green Fever Sales Event. The hottest savings of the year are ready and waiting on compact and utility tractors, hay tools, and select lawn tractors too. Visit your John Deere dealer at johndeere.com/greenfever to learn more about all the great incentives, like 0% financing for 60 months on compact and select utility tractors. While you're online, enter the Big Gear Giveaway for a chance to take home your share of $30,000 in John Deere gear.
Hi, I'm Mary Sokup, and I'm honored to be editor for Drover's Cattle Network. From the diversified farm and ranch in northeast Kansas I called home as a child, to the operation I'm involved with today with my husband and his family, I hope it's clear to you that my feet are solidly planted in today's cattle business. Drover's has long been known as America's beef business source, and that's a tradition I'm committed to keeping for years to come.
Dr. Hill, maybe you can explain a few of the things that Merck Animal Health has done to assist producers in this planning process as well.
Yeah, we've recently introduced a value-added program called Prime Vac, and that's just a collection of these ideas and suggestions to help producers organize what vaccines they give, when they give them, so that the result then is in that most well-prepared and healthy calf.
So outline for our viewers, if you would, the primary categories that Prime Vac encompasses.
Okay, and that would be, again, the respiratory protection. Certainly, again, as BRD is our #1 issue, it all sort of centers around respiratory protection. #2 would be clostridial protection, like blackleg, malignant edema, kind of sudden death issues typically. And the third is control of internal parasites.
Now, I know Merck has products in each of these 3 areas. Do you want to highlight a few of those?
Right. For respiratory protection, our Vista vaccines, Vista 5, for instance, has the 5 common viruses that are involved in respiratory disease. And then in Vista Once is a complete vaccine that adds the bacterial components of Mannheimia and Pasteurella to that vaccine. So we get a very nice complete respiratory protection out of the Vista vaccines.
So the second category you mentioned, I think, was Clostridial. What are some specific Merck products that help protect against Clostridial issues?
Again, we have a kind of a family of vaccines called Vision, in various combinations with 7 antigens or 8, or even some that have 9 with tetanus protection. So, and they can be combined with pink eye protection or with somnus protection. So we have a large group of Clostridial vaccines there to work with.
And then the third category you mentioned was the parasite control. Talk to us a little bit about Merck's products, and specifically what might be different about some of Merck's internal and external parasite control products.
Yeah, Safeguard is the name of our parasite control product, and its chemical name is fenbendazole. The fenbendazole category is distinctly different from most other wormers on the market. Most of the others fall into the ivermectin class. So the importance of that these days is that there's increasing evidence that ivermectins are losing their effectiveness, and so fenbendazole, especially in combination with the ivermectins, gives outstanding control. And so getting that word out to producers and veterinarians now is really important, as they understand that these worms are changing, and so our approach to control has to change as well.
Very good. And I have to ask you the obvious question, Dr. Hill. I mean, all these things we've been talking about cost money to producers. And so fundamentally, is there a premium involved? Is there a return on investment for producers who go through these precautions and make these investments in trying to improve the health of their calves?
Yeah, we've got really good data to answer that question now, whereas before sometimes you sit in an auction and you can't see that those vaccinated calves brought any more than the neighbors unvaccinated, but especially through superior auction data, we're able to analyze that. And we know that calves that at least get those 2 rounds of vaccinations that I talked about, they'll bring approximately $25 per head more than an unvaccinated calf. And if you take that same calf and add 45 days of weaning to it, that doubles to somewhere near $50 a head is the premium. So there's a good return there for the effort that goes into it.
So it sounds like Merck's PrimeVac program really does create value for producers.
It really has that opportunity to do that by veterinarians and producers working together. The other thing that PrimeVac program is going to do is the veterinarian will be able to produce a certificate of health that will list the details of all vaccinations that have been given, and then it'll have his signature on it. So it's a nice third-party verification of the health practices that have been completed. And so in the end, what we really think it's a win for the producer, it's a win for the buyer who knows he's getting his money's worth, and so all around everybody comes out ahead.
Well, no doubt as these cattle become more and more valuable, it's really incumbent on us to do everything we can to keep these cattle healthy.
We've got a very expensive product out there these days to protect. That's right.
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
To find out more about the value of preconditioning your calves and protecting their health, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
Here's what producers are saying about Progressive Cattleman Magazine, the beef industry resource.
Progressive Cattleman Magazine, we find, is very practical.
Progressive Cattleman does a good job of making sure that their articles relate to the current topics that farmers and ranchers need to deal with.
The magazine I really enjoy receiving. It has a lot of articles in it that are more progressive industry, educational type articles.
Subscribe today at progressivecattle.com.
I'm Scott George, president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, inviting you to follow me to Tennessee. We'll be right here in Nashville doing important work, having some fun and fellowship in historic places like the Grand Ole Opry. So make your plans to join us in Nashville February 4th through the 7th, 2014. We'll see you there.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. From Capitol Hill to the far side of cattle country, the National Cattleman provides information NCBA members need. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Ah, my friends, there appears to be no end to the number of books, CDs, and DVDs that escape from my mind. Thank you for the inspiration. My new book is called Poems Worth Saving, stories about the funny side of our way of life, and also leaves room for a sequel, Poems Not Worth Saving. 800-654-2550, online at baxterblack.com. It is as fun as a tub full of puppies. In feast or famine, at least examine the game we came to play, because win or lose, it's how we use the cards that come our way. Just let her rain, the rancher said. We've built up quite a thirst. I know the low road's plumb washed out and the tank dam's bound to burst, and we'll have to plant the wheat again and clean the water gaps, but you won't hear this fool complain if it reaches to my shafts. Truth is, friends, we've needed this. We've been so dry so long, I thought I'd have to sell the cows and pay the piper's song. The winter grass just lay there, stiff. For months it never changed. I'd walk out through that crackling brown that covered all my range and watch the wind blow dust clouds where the good grass should have been. And I'd count the bales in the stack and calculate again the days of feeding I had left before I'd have to face the ultimate decision. What I'd do to save the place. Well, the weatherman was helpful, except he always told the truth. Fiddling chance of 10% meant it just rained in Duluth. That's nice for Minnesota, but it don't help me a bit. I gave up chewing tobacco so I wouldn't have to spit. But he said last night, a chance of rain, more than just a trace. I washed the car and left the windows open just in case, and sure enough this morning big old clouds came rolling in, and they parked above the yard, and the thunder made a din that rattled all the windows in the house where I sat still. And at 2, it started raining, and I still ain't got my fill. It's coming down in buckets like it's paying back a debt. And me, I'm standing in the front yard in my shorts and soaking wet. And when the sun comes out tomorrow and sparkles all around off pools and puddles standing like big diamonds on the ground, I'll remember feast or famine. When it comes to rain, you take the feast when offered if you live out on the plain. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter, for helping us keep it in perspective. We'll have more right after this.
If
you're looking for high-quality Simmental or Red Angus cattle, then you should meet the folks at the Beekler Ranch in Linton, North Dakota. Their annual female sale is the second Saturday in November, and their annual bull sale is the second Thursday in February. They strive for quality over quantity, delivering bulls and females that are fully developed and performance tested.
We like to have an easy fleshing animal that has a lot of depth of body, a lot of natural thickness, a lot of natural muscling. We like our cattle to have a balanced set of EPDs.
Beekler Simmental is where you'll find Simmental and Red Angus genetics that pay. And with the right disposition, quality carcass traits, and more, Beekler bulls and females will work for you.
We like to stand behind our cattle, and we're pretty proud of what we produce.
To view the sale catalog and videos of the bulls and females offered, just visit the website johnsonbeeklersimmentals.com, or on sale day, view and bid at dbauction.com.
This business can take time away and become more of your family than your actual family. My days were tough. I had a lot of doctoring, a lot of pulling. Now our days on the feed yard are happy days. It's more about looking at the cattle and enjoying what we're producing versus the alternative, which is pull and treat and bang our head against the wall. We have never wavered from Draxon. We've seen the benefits just keep getting better and better.
One of the outstanding educational opportunities for anyone interested in the cattle business is Cattlemen's College, held each year at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show. We asked cattlemen what they think of Cattlemen's College.
Cattlemen's College is a wonderful opportunity for transfer of information. I don't know how better to explain it than it is a very unique experience of bringing very high quality experts to meet and interact and present to cattlemen, again, that wouldn't normally have that opportunity to have that interaction or gather that information.
It's a great place especially for younger producers, and you can come. There's always great topics in the Cattlemen's College as far as, different things that can help you improve your production practices and work in a family organization. I mean, we all need help along those lines. So it's a great place to come and learn and kind of get with your peers, get excited about the industry.
I like Cattlemen's College, that, and then when the cattle facts people speak. And if I wouldn't go there every year, I'd feel like I was kind of out of the loop in the cattle industry.
Vision statement.
Don't miss Cattlemen's College and the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention in Nashville. Find out more by visiting beefusa.org. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, live from Nashville, right here on RFD TV.